My beloved child, I need you to listen now, not later, not when it's convenient, not after the damage is done. I am speaking in this moment because heaven is trembling with urgency, and your name is written on the message I carry. I see what you do not see. I hear what has been whispered behind your back. I stand between you and a trap that is silently tightening around your feet, and I will not allow you to walk into it blind. You have asked for clarity. You have begged for peace. You have prayed, God, if this isn't right, show me. And now I show you. I, Archangel Michael, bring this divine warning not to frighten you, but to rescue you. Something dangerous is being repeated. A cycle, a habit, a connection. One that nearly broke you before, and now, disguised in new words and a softer voice, is back to finish what it started. You feel the unease, the inner tension, the part of you that cannot rest, even when everything looks fine. That is not anxiety. That is your spirit, awakened and alert, warning you before it's too late. You are not imagining it. That's strange. Resistance in your gut, that shift in atmosphere when they speak, that weariness when you give your energy to them, that is divine protection trying to speak to you before it has to save you. And I am here to confirm it, to reveal it, to shout what heaven has been whispering. This is the moment where destiny hangs in the balance, a crossroad, and you are not just choosing what to do, you are choosing who you become. God, heaven is watching, not in judgment, but in hope. Hope that this time you will choose obedience over comfort, discernment over desire, wisdom over wishful thinking, because your breakthrough is closer than you think, but so is the attack designed to block it. And the difference between stepping into blessing or being dragged into delay is one single decision. Yours. There is someone in your life who is not who they claim to be. Their words sound right, but their heart is wrong. Their support feels warm, but their motives are cold. They appear safe, but their presence steals your peace. And you have felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache in your chest when they enter the room, that hesitation when you speak your dreams around them, that voice that rises in your spirit saying, something is off. That voice is not fear. That voice is me. My sword is drawn. My wings are extended. I have stood between you and disaster more times than you know. But I cannot force you to see what I see. I can only warn you. And this is that warning. If you return to what almost destroyed you, the next time it will not leave pieces to rebuild. If you trust what heaven is exposing, your next season will be one of restoration, protection, and divine fulfillment. But if you choose comfort over calling, silence over truth, appearance over discernment, you may lose the very thing you've been praying for. This isn't just about a person. It's about a pattern, a repeated doorway that you have walked through too many times, each time hoping it would be different, each time convincing yourself to ignore the signs. But heaven is no longer silent. The signs are speaking louder than ever. Dreams, gut feelings, unexplained delays, sudden shifts in relationship. These are not coincidences. These are divine alarms, and you must not snooze them again. You've given access to people I never assigned. You've opened your heart to voices I never approved. You've carried burdens that were never yours. And while you thought you were being loyal, you were actually being drained. I know it's hard to let go. I know the soul ties run deep. But I also know what's waiting on the other side of your obedience. What I have prepared for you is greater than what you're afraid to lose. What I am calling you into is stronger than what you're clinging to. Type 111 if your spirit feels this is for you. Not for reaction, but for recognition. To mark the moment when something inside you woke up. Because I am not just speaking into your ears. I am speaking into your spirit. Into the part of you that already knows. The part that sees the pattern, remembers the pain, and fears the repeat. That part is crying out for freedom. And heaven is answering, I know the excuses you've made, the fears you've buried, the guilt you've carried. I know the nights you replayed conversations, wondering where it all went wrong. I was there when you cried in silence, when you begged for truth, when you pleaded for a sign. And now I bring it. This is your sign. This is your interruption. This is heaven bending low, grabbing your shoulders, looking into your soul, and saying, don't do it again. There are things you don't know, conversations you were not meant to hear, plans made in secret, intentions masked by charm. And while you see smiles, I see strategy. While you feel drawn, I see danger. While you crave connection, I see control. And I will not stay silent. I love you too much to watch you walk into a snare. This is not just heartbreak. This is sabotage. This is not just distraction. It's a trap, and the enemy's fingerprints are all over it. He has studied you, watched your patterns, exploited your longing, and now he has dressed deception in something familiar, something that feels like home. But not every familiar feeling is safe. Not every past comfort is divine. Just because it doesn't hurt, yet doesn't mean it won't. I am not speaking of fear. I am speaking of wisdom, of protection, of divine intervention before devastation. You are about to step into a moment that shifts everything. And what you do with this message matters. You can delete it, ignore it, pretend it doesn't apply, or you can listen, lean in, obey, and choose. The blessing that's waiting on the other side of your yes. This is not emotionalism. This is not manipulation. This is a divine invitation, and heaven is watching. The angels are aligned. The scroll of your destiny is being unfolded as we speak. And whether the next chapter is written in joy or in delay depends on how you respond. I have come not just to warn you, but to walk with you, to shield you, to fight for you. But I cannot protect what you refuse to release. Let go. Step out. Speak up. Your miracle is not in the comfort of what you know. It is in the courage to walk away when heaven says no. Stay with me, child. The next revelation is heavier, the truth deeper, but so is the promise. And if you stay until the end, you will not only survive what's coming, you will be crowned in victory over it. My beloved child, you may not realize this yet, but the battle you are in did not begin today. This is not new. It is a continuation, a pattern wrapped in a different face, a voice wearing different words, a pain that looks different, but still lands in the same place. You've been here before. You've felt this before. And heaven is sounding the alarm because you are dangerously close to walking in the same circle again. I, Archangel Michael, do not speak to flatter you. I speak to awaken you. The cycle you are trapped in is not accidental. The repetition is not random. It has been set in motion by a force that studies you, waits for you, knows your weak spots, and presses against them until you break. But not this time, not if you listen, not if you obey. Heaven's voice is getting louder because your heart is growing numb. You've learned how to ignore the discomfort. You've silenced your discernment for the sake of peace. You've labeled it overthinking, but it is not overthinking. It is divine insight. It is spiritual alarm. It is your soul screaming under the weight of what your heart refuses to release. You are standing at the same fork in the road that once led you to devastation. But this time, the signs are brighter. The warnings are sharper. The consequences heavier. What you choose in this moment will either propel you into breakthrough or bury you in delay. This is not an emotional shift. It is a spiritual turning point. And what you do with it reveals whether you're ready for what you've been praying for, or still entertaining what heaven has been trying to remove. You want the blessing, but are you willing to walk away from what's blocking it? You want the promise, but will you obey the instruction attached to it? This is the moment where your heart must say yes even if your feelings scream no. Your emotions are not the map. Obedience is. You've wondered why the delay, why the door didn't open, why the relationship soured, why the peace left. But I tell you now, it wasn't sabotage. It was salvation. I allowed it to crumble because what you were building it on wasn't stable. I allowed the silence so you could finally hear what couldn't be said with words. I allowed the pause so the storm wouldn't swallow you whole. You keep asking for a sign. But child, I've sent dreams. I've stirred your spirit. I've turned your stomach at the sound of their name. I've disrupted conversations with discomfort. I've aligned timing so that you'd have no choice but to pause. And now I send this message one more time as a final invitation to shift. Say you want change, but your feet are planted in what is familiar. You pray for healing, but won't walk away from what's making you sick. You ask for new beginnings, but cling to what's already ended. And I love you too much to stay quiet. This message is not to shame you. It is to save you. You are at a divine crossroads, and your delay is costing you miracles. I have seen what waits on the other side of your obedience. I have seen the healing, the clarity, the sudden release of everything you've been waiting for. But I have also seen what happens if you ignore this moment again. The enemy is not only attacking you with fear, he is attacking you with comfort, with distraction, with false peace that lulls you back to sleep. And I, Archangel Michael, am commanded to disturb your comfort, to awaken your discernment, to stir the warrior within you so that you no longer return to what heaven has freed you from. There is someone you keep defending in your prayers, but I see their heart. There is a door you keep knocking on, but I have sealed it shut. There is a path you keep walking, but it no longer leads to destiny. And still, I wait for your yes, your surrender. Not the kind you whisper in fear, but the kind that shakes the foundations of darkness because you finally believed heaven more than your emotions. Type 911 to claim your divine protection if this word has reached you deep. If something inside you knows this isn't just a message, it's a rescue. You're not just being warned, you're being redirected, not to another delay, but to a divine appointment that cannot be reached if you remain bound to the past. Your spirit remembers the pain. Even if your mind tries to romanticize it, your soul still flinches. And that flinch is your sign. That hesitation is the Holy Spirit pleading with you to stop, to step back, to see clearly. But I cannot show you what you refuse to acknowledge. I cannot remove what you still defend. Let me be clear, this is not about vengeance. This is about preservation. What heaven is exposing is not because you're being punished, it's because you're being protected. You were not made to carry betrayal quietly. You were not called to stay loyal to confusion. You were never created to keep bleeding just because you called it love. There is a name not written into your scroll. There is a voice not authorized to shape your future. And you've given access out of emotion, out of hope, out of fear of loneliness. But heaven is closing that chapter, and you must not force it back open. Child, remember, every delay caused by disobedience has consequences. And some doors, once missed, do not swing back open. I am not threatening. I am pleading. Pleading with the part of you that knows. The part that cried when no one saw. The part that knew something was wrong, but didn't want to believe it. The part that has been begging heaven for peace and ignoring the hand that's been reaching out to pull you out. This is your answer. This is your escape. This is your chance to choose breakthrough over breakdown. You are not alone. Heaven is not angry with you, but heaven is running out of space to keep warning without intervention. You are standing at the edge, and the next step is yours. I will not force you, but I will not stop fighting for you. This is your moment to respond. Stay with me, child. The heaviest truth is yet to be revealed, but so is the greatest freedom. And you will not just survive it. You will be redefined by it. My beloved child. It breaks my heart to say this, but you have been giving your time, your energy, your trust, and your love to what heaven is trying to remove. You are holding on with trembling hands to something I have been gently trying to separate from your life. And each time I whisper, you hush me. Each time I close a door, you knock louder. Each time I expose a pattern, you call it a coincidence. But I, Archangel Michael, do not move by accident. I do not warn without reason. You are walking close to something that once had your heart, but never had heaven's blessing. It comforted your wounds, but it also deepened them. It spoke like love, but acted like a trap. And still your soul clings to the memory of how it made you feel, instead of seeing what it's doing to your spirit now. You've prayed for clarity, but when I gave it to you, you called it fear. You've begged for peace, but when I tried to restore it, you ran back to chaos. You've asked for signs, but when I sent them, you closed your eyes. Not because you are rebellious, but because you are afraid. Afraid to lose what you thought you needed. Afraid to walk alone. Afraid to admit that what once looked like a blessing has become a barrier. Heaven is not angry with you, child, but heaven is serious about your destiny. And your destiny is too important to be entangled in relationships, habits, or places that do not carry God's voice. What I remove, I replace, but you must release it first. I cannot pour fresh oil into hands still clinging to what I already called finished. You think you are being loyal, but loyalty to what is false becomes betrayal to what is true. Loyalty to someone I did not send becomes disobedience to what I am building. And I tell you now, not in wrath, but in urgency, that the longer you delay, the heavier this burden will become. It will not stay still. It will not resolve itself. It will grow. It will spread. It will take root where faith was meant to flourish. Do not confuse familiarity with favor. Just because it's been there a long time does not mean it's been right. Just because they know your story does not mean they were written into your future. I am tearing down the illusion. I am removing the mask. And what you do with the truth will determine what I do next. You asked me to go before you. Now I am. You asked me to fight for you. Now I have drawn my sword. You asked me to protect you. Now I am giving you the chance to leave the trap before it snaps shut. This is the moment of separation, and I will honor your choice. But I will not allow you to say you weren't warned. Heaven's love is not always soft. Sometimes it comes with fire. Sometimes it comes with silence. Sometimes it comes with distance. But it is always love. And this love is trying to rescue you from what is delaying your miracle. Child, say yes. Even if your hands shake. Even if your voice cracks. Even if it means starting over. Because what I have for you is worth everything you're afraid to lose. My child, you have asked why things are shifting. Why certain people have gone silent. Why the opportunities you once chased no longer open. Why peace escapes you even when everything around you looks fine. And I tell you now, it is not coincidence. It is not punishment. It is heaven closing doors you kept forcing open. I, Archangel Michael, am not here to hurt you, but to protect you. I am the sword in the invisible, the fire at the threshold, the whisper that grows louder. When you try to silence the signs, there is something you keep entertaining that I never assigned to you. A voice, a connection, a habit. It once comforted you, yes, but now it is draining you. You once believed it was your answer, but now you feel confused every time it enters your life. That confusion is not from God. That confusion is not peace. It is a sign. It is the fruit of something heaven did not plant. You've asked for direction, but direction often comes through removal. When you refuse to walk away, I begin to move things out of reach, not to deprive you, but to save you. You've confused delay with denial. But the only thing being denied is the access of the enemy to your life. Still, you mourn, you plead, you negotiate with heaven over what I'm trying to remove. You cry over what I've already judged. You defend what I've already exposed. Child, I do not take lightly what I bless, and I do not bless what carries poison. What appears harmless in your eyes, I see as deadly. What seems soft to your touch, I know as claws. You keep asking me to protect you, but you also keep inviting the danger back into your house. How can I guard you when you keep opening the door to what is harming you? This is your turning point, a divine interruption, the crossroads between comfort and calling, between emotion and obedience. You cannot have both. If you want breakthrough, you must choose the narrow path, the one where you may walk alone for a time, but never without heaven, the one where your flesh trembles, but your spirit breathes, the one where you stop settling for temporary affection and start standing in eternal truth. You have tolerated too much in the name of patience. You have explained away too many red flags because of your hope. But I am not here to coddle your past. I am here to clear the way for your future. And I will remove anything that hinders your purpose, even if it wears a familiar face, even if it sounds like support, even if it once made you feel alive. I am not preserving feelings. I am protecting your soul. There is someone whose presence keeps causing you to doubt yourself. Every time you get close to clarity, they appear. Every time you try to heal, they re-enter with just enough sweetness to confuse you. That is not love. That is control. That is not divine timing. That is spiritual manipulation. And I have drawn the line. Do not cross it again. Not because I will stop loving you, but because I cannot bless what is against my will. You are not called to live in confusion. You are not called to be someone's backup plan. You are not called to keep proving your worth to people who only value your silence. You have begged me to speak. I am speaking now, loud and clear. Do not go back. Do not reach again for what I've torn away. Do not look back like Lot's wife, who turned her face toward what I was destroying and lost everything in a single moment of hesitation. I am not threatening. I am rescuing. But rescue requires response. Deliverance demands a decision. Heaven is not waiting for your perfect faith, but for your full surrender. Even if your voice shakes, even if your yes feels like loss, that yes is the key to everything you've been praying for. You will not miss your blessing if you obey, but you can delay it if you hesitate. I have seen your strength. I have heard your prayers, and I have counted your tears. None of them were wasted, but now I am asking for your movement, your alignment, your trust, not just in word, but in action. There is no neutral ground anymore. You are either moving with me or pulling against me. You are either letting go or holding back. You are either stepping into light or staying in the familiar shadows that feel safe but slowly suffocate your spirit. You are either rising into purpose or shrinking back into patterns. And child, I did not call you to shrink. I did not anoint you to settle. I did not mark you for a halfway blessing. I marked you for fullness, for fire, for freedom. And freedom never bows to fear. Stay with me. The next word is heavier, but so is the glory that follows. This is not the end of the message. It is the edge of your miracle. And the truth that comes next will either break you open or break you free. My child, I need you to understand the weight of this moment. Heaven does not repeat itself endlessly. There comes a point where the whisper becomes a silence. And when heaven grows silent, it is not because it has nothing to say. It is because you stopped listening. You are nearing that line now. I, Archangel Michael, speak not from anger, but from divine urgency. What has been tolerated in the past will no longer be overlooked in this hour. You've asked, why does it feel heavier this time? It is, because it is heavier. The consequences are heavier. The stakes are higher. The time is shorter. Heaven has extended mercy again and again. I've warned you in your dreams. I've stirred your heart in the quiet. I've placed unease in your gut when you stood too close to danger, and still you walked closer. You wrapped comfort around deception and called it love. You embraced familiar poison and called it growth. But what you call safe, heaven calls sabotage. The cycle you're in is no longer a mistake. It is a choice. And I say this not to wound you, but to wake you. You are not a victim anymore. You are accountable now. And what you choose next will either align you with divine favor or hand you over to delay and disorder. There are moments when God speaks gently, and there are moments when he speaks with fire. This is fire. I have fought for you in realms you cannot see. I have blocked what you thought you needed. I have delayed what would have destroyed you. But I cannot keep intervening if you keep giving permission to the enemy. Your silence gives him access. Your indecision gives him ground. Your excuses give him strategy. And heaven cannot override what you refuse to release. There is a person, a habit, a voice, a presence that you still keep in reach. You say you're praying for guidance, but what you want is permission. You want heaven to approve what heaven has already rejected, and I will not do that. I will not put my name on what I did not plant. I will not bless what you built out of. Fear, you are standing on a spiritual fault line. One move in the wrong direction, and the ground will split beneath you. Not because I want you to fall, but because you ignored every bridge I offered you. I will never stop loving you. But love does not always sound soft. Sometimes love sounds like, don't you dare go back. Sometimes love sounds like, this is your last warning. Child, I am not trying to take something from you. I am trying to give something to you, but your hands are full. Full of old wounds you won't stop picking. Full of names I never wrote in your story. Full of plans you made without me. And I am asking, will you empty your hands so I can fill them? With glory? This is not just about what you're holding. It's about what you're blocking. The restoration I've prepared is ready. The miracle is not delayed in heaven. It's being held back by your hesitation. Every time you return to what I released you from, you reset the process. Every time you reach for what I removed, you give time back to the thing that was meant to end. I've watched you wrestle in silence. I've seen your inner war. But child, some wars are won not by fighting harder, but by surrendering faster. Surrender does not mean defeat. It means alignment. It means you stop negotiating with what is clearly beneath your destiny. It means you finally believe that what I have for you is better than what you're afraid to lose. Type 444 if your heart hears this. Not because I need your response, but because you do. Because something sacred is breaking loose inside you, and you must mark this moment. You must tell your soul, I heard heaven, and I will not go back. This is not manipulation. This is mercy, and mercy always precedes movement. But mercy does not linger forever. The scroll of your destiny is turning. And if you're not aligned, it will turn without you. And you will wonder why joy became foreign, why peace became silent, why prayer felt distant. It's not because I left you. It's because you left the path. You are not too far gone. You are not disqualified, but you are at the edge. And I'm asking you, for the last time, will you turn around before the trap closes? I cannot force you to walk away from the wrong thing. I cannot make you choose truth over tenderness, obedience over nostalgia. But I can tell you that if you don't, this cycle will harden. This pattern will deepen. And next time, it may not come with a warning. Stay with me, child. The final revelation is near. And when it arrives, you will understand why heaven cried so loudly for your attention. The breakthrough is still possible, but only if you respond now, my child. If you are still hearing this, then it means heaven is still reaching for you. But this time, not with gentle whispers. This time, not with silent signs. This is not a suggestion. It is a final call. I, Archangel Michael, have come to deliver what may be the last message before the shift. You have felt the shaking. You have sensed something approaching, and it is not your imagination. It is not fear. It is heaven moving quickly to make sure you do not miss what was always meant to be yours. But child, it can no longer wait on your hesitation. You've asked for answers, but you delay obedience. You've asked for peace, but you hold on to chaos. You've asked for breakthrough, but you won't let go of what's blocking it. I do not speak these things to shame you. I speak them because heaven will not force what you continue to resist. There is something you know you must release. It's not hidden anymore. I've revealed it clearly. A voice, a face, a pattern, a place. And still you stand at the edge, looking back one more time, even though your spirit knows it has cost you too much. This is not the season for one more excuse. This is not the moment for silence. It is the moment to decide, because heaven cannot bless confusion. It cannot partner with delay. It cannot pour glory into hands still clenched around what God never gave. The enemy wants one more cycle. One more conversation. One more moment where you tell yourself, just a little longer. Because every second you stay in disobedience, you give him room to rewrite what was promised to you. But I will not allow that to happen if you stand up now. Child, you are not too late, but you are on the edge. One more step in the wrong direction, and you will delay what has already been delayed too many times. The door will not remain open. Forever. Heaven has not run out of miracles. But heaven is calling for movement. You cannot receive restoration while entertaining destruction. You cannot walk in purpose while clinging to patterns that serve your pain. This is the moment. The spiritual line is drawn. Will you obey what you know is right, even if it costs you comfort? Will you step forward, even if it means walking alone? For a while, will you trust that heaven has better, even when what you had felt familiar? I have drawn my sword not against you, but for you, for your future, for your freedom. But I cannot make the choice for you. That belongs to you alone. If this message touches your soul, mark this moment, not for me. For you, speak it, decide it, seal it in your spirit. You are not made to carry what heaven is removing. You were not called to stay in what's already expired. And you were not chosen to bow to fear. Now rise, because what comes next depends entirely on this choice. And I, Archangel Michael, will go with you. If you go now, you are not being rushed. You are being rescued. The urgency you feel is not pressure, it is protection. Every second heaven waits is a second the enemy tries to reclaim. And you, child, are far too important to be surrendered to delay. You were born for this moment, not to waver, not to hesitate, but to walk forward, even if your voice shakes, even if your hands tremble. The door is not closing on you, it is closing behind you. What's ahead is still open, but only to those who step in faith, not in fear. If you move now, heaven will meet you. If you rise now, everything changes. Let this be the day your spirit remembers. You didn't just hear a message, you answered it. You didn't just survive the test, you stepped into the victory. And that sound? That's heaven preparing the reward for your obedience. Walk on, you're not alone. Heaven has gone before you. You've been asking, how much longer? But heaven has been asking, how much clearer must I be? This is no longer about patience. This is about obedience. You have stood at this threshold before. You have felt this tug, this warning, this invitation. And yet, each time you paused, you doubted, you delayed. But now, the delay is no longer harmless. It is costly. You are not weak, you are weary. And heaven understands. Weariness. But heaven cannot bless rebellion disguised as hesitation. If you move forward now, the wind of heaven will push behind your steps. If you remain still, the weight will not lift. Not because I've abandoned you, but because you've ignored what was sacred. This is the moment to choose alignment over attachment, clarity over confusion, purpose over patterns. The storm is not meant to crush you. It's meant to carry you out of what's beneath you. The sword is drawn. The gate is open. Now walk. Heaven waits.